Thank you. Thank you so much. I was kind of hoping you would do that after the speech, as opposed to before the speech, but I'll take it in stride. Thank you. I do want to echo a deep gratitude to all of our federal elected officials and state partners who are here, and of course to our city officials and our council. I do want to say a special thank you to former President Torres, who's been an incredible partner to me in my first year in office. And to current President Sandoval, who will be an amazing partner in the year that is coming. I remember well, a year ago, first time I visited an encampment as a mayor. And the first man I talked to, I remember, showed me the sores all over his back from where he'd been bitten by rats in the middle of the night when he was sleeping. He told me how hard it was to hold the job because when you left during the day to go on a shift, when you came back, all of your stuff had been stolen from your tent. He talked about the people that would show up with a gun and take his tent and turn it over into a temporary home base to sell drugs before they would disappear. Again, he talked about how many times he had been pushed from block to block or place to place and had to start all over again. And the crisis was not only affecting him, it was affecting all of us. I talked to business leaders and the neighborhood who would talk about how they were facing going out of business, how they'd cut off the foot traffic from the huge encampments, how revenues were plummeting. We had a post office that notified they might have to shut down service because they couldn't get people in and out of the post office. We had hospitals who had a hard time getting people in and out of their hospitals as patients. Some blocks of downtown, we had more tents than we had businesses. And the encampments were magnets for crime, including a young high school grad from this city who was an Army veteran who got shot in the middle of the night while he was in a tent trying to take care of his sister. To many, there was no problem that seemed more unsolvable than street homelessness. Many cities had given in or given up, believing that after COVID, homelessness and encampments were the new normal for every American city. There were 1,000 reasons people said we couldn't succeed. No Denverite will want to accept a new facility to house the homeless in their neighborhood. You can't find enough land or units to solve a problem this big. Construction timelines are 18 months, not 18 weeks. Or people want to be homeless. They wouldn't take housing even if you offered it to them. But in those stories, we saw hope. In every conversation, we found neighbors who wanted to help. In every tent, we found a person who just needed someone to believe in them. We believed that no one was unredeemable and no problem was too big for a city committed to change. So we went to work. We listened to neighbors at more than 60 town halls across the city. We called on leaders from all sectors to help, including faith leaders and nonprofit leaders and business leaders, and we called on unhoused neighbors themselves to be partners. We partnered with this courageous city council to identify, build, and open 1,200 units of transitional housing in 8 different council districts across the city. And at each of those sites, we offered the wraparound services people need. Thank you. And as of today, 1 year later, we have now moved more than 1,600 people off the streets and into transitional housing. In these last 12 months, Denver has housed more people faster per capita than any city in America. And in finding them a home, we created a better home for all of us. I remember more than a year ago, before I took office, walking downtown with my daughter, Ava, and we rounded the corner and saw someone sleeping on the street. And she said, "Dad, why don't we do something?" We did do something. And today, you can walk out this theater with your daughter, and I can walk out with mine. And you can walk down the mall to Union Station, or over to Coors Field, or through all the businesses in 5 Points. You can walk past that post office or to the Denver Arts Complex or the Convention Center or the Civic Center Park. And when you make that walk today, you will not see a single tent or a single encampment in all of downtown Denver. Because those people who are living on the streets are now living indoors in dignity. A dream that seemed impossible a year ago, that we could find a path to end street homelessness in the next 4 years, now feels more possible than ever. And this year we will mark a major milestone towards that goal to end street homelessness by focusing on one of our most vulnerable populations, and that's veterans. Those who have risked their lives for our country deserve the decency of stable housing. That is why we are proud to share that by the end of 2024, Denver is on path to become the largest American city to ever end street homelessness for American veterans. But our work is not done. We have much more to do to bring more people off the streets and to help people in transitional housing get placed into permanent housing. This historic effort has not been easy and has not been without mistakes. But in it, we hope you can see the blueprint for what this city can do. We will be bold about what is possible and humble about what it takes to get there. We will be relentless in our focus and collaborative in our process. We will make mistakes from sprinting, but never from standing still. We may fall short by dreaming big, but never by thinking small. Because I would always rather be disappointed by believing in each other than affirmed by doubting each other. That is the story of our all-in Mile High effort, an unfinished story, and it's the story of Denver. But as we were working to get 1,000 unhoused individuals off the streets and into transitional housing, 30,000 newcomers arrived in our streets in the last year. Many of them arrived in the middle of winter with sandals and a t-shirt, hungry and thirsty and tired, without money or a job or shelter. Individuals like Daniela, who was a school teacher in Venezuela, and her husband, who owned a small plastics manufacturing company. He had made the mistake of speaking up against the government in Venezuela, and for it had been arrested multiple times, imprisoned, and their family had been threatened. So after the last arrest, Daniela decided it was time to leave. She and her husband took their 9-year-old daughter, left their business and their home and everything they owned, and walked 3,000 miles to America. They carried their daughter through the treacherous Darien Gap, more dangerous than Colorado's most jagged 14ers, holding tight to her daughter's hand on those faces where hundreds of families had fallen over the edge. And holding tight to her daughter in the middle of the night in those places where thousands of young girls had been sexually assaulted by cartels in the drive to get to America. When she crossed the border, like many, she did not intend to come to Denver, but was sent here by a governor who thought that brave newcomers would challenge our humanity. They would break us. They would divide us. He had decided they weren't people, but problems. In this crisis, Denver saw not problems, but possibility. The people of this city responded in heroic ways. With the partnership of City Council, the leadership of President Torres, and now President Sandoval, we rose to the occasion. Working with incredible nonprofit partners like Yoli Casas, who I see is here tonight from Vive Wellness, like the Highland Moms, people who stepped up. They cooked food for families. They cleared out their closets for clothes for families. They even welcomed families into their homes. And city employees stepped aside from whatever their current job description was, and they stepped in to do what this city needed them to do. Setting up intake systems, opening shelters, providing meals and transit, launching legal clinics, placing people in housing, and finding them jobs. In this moment of crisis, our city employees were the highest ideal of public servants. And they, today, among all, deserve your applause. In this moment, it would have been easy to blame someone else, to give up or to give in. But Denver did something different. We rolled up our sleeves and believed that even this problem was solvable. We put thousands of people through free legal clinics to get work authorization. We moved thousands of people into housing, and we launched the country's first asylum seeker program that helps our newcomers get what they need most, a job. Our program helps newcomers caught in a broken federal immigration system where they may have to wait 7 years for a court date without the ability to work while they wait. We found a new path, helping every newcomer in our program apply for asylum, then while they were waiting those 6 months, get access to the skills they need to enter the jobs that Denver demands. Our program, in partnership with Centro de Trabajadores, helps them learn English, develop financial literacy, choose a high-demand career that Denver employers can't fill, earn career certifications, get the on-the-job work experience, so when that work authorization comes through, they are ready. What was meant to be a crisis that would divide us, we turned into an opportunity to unite us. Newcomers wanted a path, thank you. Newcomers wanted a path to get a job and support themselves, and support their families and support our city. Our businesses were desperate for a talent pipeline of committed workers who could fill those jobs that were hardest to fill. So we built a program to do just that. Thanks to Denver's indomitable spirit of service, this historic effort has meant that in Denver, the city that has welcomed more migrants per capita than any city in America in the past year, we don't have encampments of migrant families living on the streets. We've helped families find their way to housing and dignity and work. Families like Daniela's. After she arrived in one of our shelters, she and her husband applied for work authorization. He got a job working as a chef here in Denver, and she started this spring as one of the founding teachers of a school that Yoli put together up in Northwest Denver to help newcomers acclimate to America. Some kids who've been out of school for years didn't know the systems or the structures, the routines. She was that teacher to be the first face to help welcome them to Colorado. And she's not done yet. Now, this fall, she will start as a paraprofessional in the Denver Public Schools, helping students across this city begin their journey here in Denver. Here in Denver, the American dream is alive and well. Now, these challenges from year one were daunting, and they required an entire city to rally support to make them successful. That's why we made sure that people leading our city represented our city and brought new ideas to the table. Working together, we built one of the most diverse cabinet in Denver history, and I believe the most talented. We built the first all-female executive team, and we did it with an unprecedented amount of public involvement, partnering with more than 500 people who served in the largest and most inclusive transition in Denver history. To all those who did that, thank you for your service. Our work is not done, but our progress is dramatic. Our successes have opened up new opportunities for even greater impact in the year ahead. And inside each of these struggles, we see the need for more work to be done. Walking that encampment a year ago, the challenges I saw were not just homelessness, but a larger ecosystem that needs attention. Saw the need for a citywide commitment to public safety. We saw a chance to connect each of us back to each other in our communities. The need for an economic revitalization of our city center and all of our neighborhoods, and the urgency to make Denver affordable for everyone. These are the priorities that will drive the year ahead, and I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about those before I close. Often when we talk about public safety, people think of crime. But as I said, the opposite of crime is not safety. The opposite of crime is joy. What we want for our city is a place where every neighborhood is brimming with joy, where your kids can ride their bikes, or you can go out for a late night run. Your mom can walk to and from the store and never once have to worry about her safety. That's why we've launched an ambitious plan to make Denver the safest big city in America. We've held council meetings, thank you. We've held community meetings and council meetings in every council district to listen to residents about what our neighborhoods need. And the feedback is clear, that safety is about more than police work. It's about social work and economic development work and educational work. It's about street lighting and arts activation and youth summer jobs. It's about all of those things working together that make communities vibrant. That's why we started by putting 700 young people to work this summer through our Mayor's Youth Works program. We will launch 25 community events and pop-up activities this summer that bring joy and vibrancy to streets that could otherwise be dark and dangerous. We have aggressively targeted auto theft. Thank you. We have aggressively targeted auto theft through license plate readers, easy vehicle registration, enhanced deterrence, and swift investigation. We've started an Office of Neighborhood Safety for the first time to align all the services that make our communities safe and vibrant without needing an officer. And it makes it easier for communities to engage with city services without the pressure of a law enforcement contact. We will also step up patrols in places where the risk of crime is high, knowing that when a patrol officer visits a site for even 10 minutes, the likelihood of a crime happening on that site over the next 2 hours goes down dramatically. But we also know the best way to stop crime is to prevent it. And the best way to prevent crime is to build trust. So we will start a new practice of trust patrols, where officers can get out of their patrol car and walk through neighborhoods and talk to someone in a business or a rec center or at a public event and ask them what's working, what's not, what can we do better. By the end of next year, we will have run more than 6,000 trust patrols in neighborhoods all around the city. And anyone who has a business or an event that wants an officer to come by and be a part of that trust building, you can ask them anytime on our city website. Because a more trusting city is a safer city. And the great news is, while there is more work to be done here, we are already showing results. After a hard decade when Denver had the highest crime increases of any major city in America, these strategies are already making a difference. Crime is already down. Auto theft is down 31%. Shootings and homicides are down 27%. Property crime is down nearly 30%, and we are just getting started. Whenever I talk to someone about their dreams for their neighborhood, the first thing that happens is they offer to help. With every challenge we have faced this year, we have seen the overwhelming evidence of Denverites called to serve. Whether it was getting up early to cook breakfast for 20 migrant families or showing up to prepare toiletries for someone moving into their first unit off the streets, what has remained clear is that Denver is a city motivated by a spirit of service. We all believe these problems are solvable. We all want to do our part. And we know that we are far more powerful when we work together in service of a purpose bigger than ourselves. My wife, Courtney, has shared that same deep call to serve others. We first met as school teachers in the Mississippi Delta, and when I went on to be a teacher and a school principal, she served as a teacher and a social worker, a therapist, and then as a district attorney protecting those who are most at risk. When we took the oath of office a year ago, Courtney had a vision to bring Denver together around that spirit of service. So today we are proud to launch the effort she is committed to make part of our legacy. This program, Give 5 Mile High, is based on a simple idea. We all can serve, and our city is better when we do. We will ask every Denverite to give 5 hours of their time each month to serve our city and our neighbors. Each month we'll focus on a different citywide need and partner with nonprofit organizations across the city to make it easy for every Denverite to serve and to serve together. On the third Saturday of every month, we'll host our Give 5 Mile High Service Day, and we will start in August with a partnership with Denver Public Schools to ensure that every child is ready to start school with the resources they need to succeed. In September, we will move on our focus to Beautify Denver, launching a citywide cleanup day to make sure every block of Denver is beautiful. So when you walk out of this beautiful Paramount Theatre today, you will see my beautiful wife standing at the front door with flyers and info and all the resources you need to get your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers to join you for the city's first Give 5 Service Day this August. Can't wait to see you there. More than 100 years ago, this majestic Paramount Theatre opened, designed by Temple Buell. It's a historic icon of the Art Deco era, and when it opened, 20,000 people gathered outside to celebrate the art and the life that they knew it would bring to downtown. We wanted to host this State of the City here today to join the chorus, now more than 100 years running, that this can be the heart of the most vibrant city center west of the Mississippi. Downtown Denver is the economic and artistic engine of the city, and we cannot have a vibrant city without a vibrant downtown. Downtown Denver is the living room for every Denverite, and it is the playground for every Coloradan. That is why this year we will launch our Vibrant Downtown campaign to make the largest ever investment in downtown without raising taxes. We will use these resources to turn downtown from a central business district to a central neighborhood district, complete with affordable housing and public parks, childcare, great retail, restaurants, art and music, and walkable, activated streets where you can get lost in a vibrant world that you can only find in Denver. And the catalyst for this success of downtown will be the final reopening of the 16th Street Mall. Yes. We are grateful for our friends at the Downtown Denver Partnership who are leading this effort, and we will partner to be able to make this a spot that we are all proud of. All of us has a memory of the 16th Street Mall. Every Denverite has one. I remember playing street chess out on the 16th Street Mall when I first moved to Denver as a young person. I remember writing my wedding proposal to Courtney in lipstick on our apartment window in our first apartment on the 16th Street Mall when we moved to Denver. You can already feel the energy of the mall coming back with the first few blocks we opened this summer. And we're just getting warmed up. By the next state of the city, 16th Street will be open from Union Station to the Pavilion. Buses will be running, people will be strolling down our new broad sidewalks, brand new stores will be open, and a whole new generation of Denverites will be coming down to make a whole new generation of memories. One last thing to share. A vibrant Denver has to be one that can include all of us. Denver has to be a place where the ushers who welcomed us in today, the chef in the kitchen next door, the kindergarten teacher who will greet your child when you take her back to school in September. It has to be a place where all those folks can afford to live. Tonight, somewhere in Denver, a girl will wake up scared in the middle of the night and walk into her mom's room, expecting to find her fast asleep. And she won't be. She'll be awake, staring at the wall, wondering how she's going to find a way to pay the $200 more a month that her rent just went up. She already added more shifts the last time the rent come up. What can she do now? Where will she go? She'd have to take her daughter out of the school that she loves, away from the friends that she loves and she's known her whole life. She'd have to find a new job or make a long commute. She loves this city and this neighborhood and this life that she has built, and she is terrified she's going to lose it. When her daughter asks what's wrong, she stops for a moment. She can tell her daughter anything, but she can't bring herself to answer this one. She's not the only one awake. Down the street, there's a grandmother who retired from 40 years of teaching school to move to Denver to be close to her grandkids. She gets to see every flag football game, volunteer in their classrooms, help pick out a dress for the middle school dance, and host dinners and sleepovers when her daughter has to work late. But the rents keep going up, and her fixed income retirement does not. She can feel the lump growing in her throat, wondering how she will tell her daughter that she may have to leave and move back home because she can't afford to stay in Denver anymore. And what will she do when the baby girl, the littlest of all, holds her leg and says, "Please, please don't go"? Or the girl across town who should be out with her friends. She has a brand new college diploma in her hand and a job offer right here at home. She's in her childhood bedroom, and her heart warms as she looks at the photos on her desk of her and all her friends that one summer night at Red Rocks, or the one of her at age 7 in a tiara at her first Pride Parade. But that warmth recedes into fear because she's looked at the rental cost and she's done the math 100 times. And even with this new job that she thought was a great salary, she can't see a way to afford to have her own place. And if she can't afford to rent here, how would she ever be able to buy a home here? Maybe she should take the other job offer somewhere in the Midwest where it might be cheaper. But her dream was always to come home, to raise her own kids here, to watch her kids do mutton busting at the stock show, to watch their desks fill up with the photos you can only get in Denver. But she suddenly feels alone, like her hometown has left her behind. There will be all the same doubts about this hard problem that we've heard about the others. The problem is too complex. Solutions are too expensive. This is just what happens when cities grow up as they become unaffordable. People don't want affordable housing in their neighborhood. But our commitment is to see every problem as solvable and to stay at it relentlessly until we find a way. That is why we will partner with City Council this week to work to send a measure to the ballot this November to support our plan for an affordable Denver. This measure funded by a half-penny sales tax, would only cost Denver families about $2 a week, but it would put us on the path to bring on the 45,000 units of affordable housing we need to fill our entire gap of affordable housing over the next 10 years. If we want to keep the mom and the grandma and the college graduate in Denver, we can. But we have to choose it, and we have to fight for it. This November, I will ask you to choose it by voting for an affordable Denver on your November ballot. Look, finding a way to reverse the economic impacts of a global pandemic on a city center is hard. Replacing cycles of violence with centers of joy is hard. Living on the streets in a tent in a Denver winter is hard. Leaving everything you have and walking 3,000 miles to a future that is unknown is hard. And finding the resources and strategies to bring on enough housing to keep a growing city affordable is hard. But if there is one thing we've learned in the past year, it is that the single hardest problem we will ever face is the belief that we can't solve these problems at all. Once we have defeated that, anything is possible. In these uncertain times, the world will flood you with examples of hatred and division and dysfunction. It will ask you to doubt. It will tempt you to distrust. It will invite you to pass judgment. It will beg you to walk away. In those moments, you will long for proof that we are right to believe in each other, that we are right to think we can find a way, that we are right to trust that we can try one more thing, one more time that we haven't tried before, and then break through. In those moments when your friend or your neighbor or your parent has given up, let them look to Denver and see that those problems that have torn other cities apart have brought us closer together. Those challenges that have overwhelmed other communities have only made us stronger, because the one thing you won't find in Denver is that destructive, contagious belief that we can't. Here in this capital of the New West, where the mountains are tall and the rivers are deep, people believe in each other, and they lean on each other, and they fight for each other, fortified by the deep belief that all our problems are solvable, and we are the ones to solve them. So let's get to work. Thank you so much.